All right, it's that time of the year again. I'm in a 2015 Flex. We are just about around the very onset of fall. So what does that mean? That means we have nice warm days and we got really cool nights. Well, what happens, especially with your vehicle's electrical system, as we start getting those temperature fluctuations towards the end of the summer? Let's see if I can start this thing up and if it'll tell you. We're gonna have a listen to what an engine should sound like during cranking. Okay, crank it. Anytime. What are you doing? Hard to find good help these days. You'd help though. Did you get that? That is not a sound that you want to hear, because that never happens at a convenient time. That always happens at a time where you're trying to leave, you're running late, and you need to get to work, right? So it's a dead battery, right? That's what we've got. We've got a dead battery. Let's test the whole system, our battery, our starter, our alternator. But the first thing that we're going to have to do is take a look at that battery, because if we don't have a good battery, we're not going to have proper charging and we're not going to have proper starting, as you've witnessed here. So you heard it not start. That's a pretty good giveaway, especially when it tries to start. Now, when you just hit the start button or you turn your key and it goes click, 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 could be a battery problem, could be a starter problem. But when it goes, that typically is indicative of a battery issue. So I got an old school battery tester here, which I quite like. These things will physically load up your battery and they test it, and the battery can't lie to it. These testers are quite nice. They are a little bit more dummy proof. It's gonna be hard to mess up any type of electrical system with this thing. This little one I think I got for like 30 bucks off of Amazon, and it hooks up to your phone. Really nice one to have, really good one to keep around, especially if you're not always working on cars. You just do a little bit of your own stuff and you kind of want to know what's going on. I recommend going this way. If you want to get into a little bit more advanced diagnostics, I really like this one because you can load things and test things in certain ways. And I'm going to put together some more videos of that, so stay tuned for those. So anyhow, your battery is supposed to have 12.6, 12.7 volts when it is fully charged. We can see here that I'm not even at 10.5. Now, to test the battery with these old school carbon pile load testers, what you need to do is connect your negative and your positive directly to the battery wherever possible. And then we need to load it up to half of the cold cranking amps on the battery. So this battery is rated at 680 cold cranking amps. I need to load this bad boy to 340. So that'll be right about there. 9.6 volts is your key voltage. It is temperature dependent, so there's a little scale on there. I already know this battery is going to fail, but let's do it anyways. So you load it up, you hold it for 15 seconds, and it should stay above 9.6, which this one is nowhere even close, and our amperage isn't even close. So yeah, we got a bad battery. It's no good, which we already knew, but now we've confirmed it. But let's have a look at how to do that with that little electronic tester. So I've pulled a few batteries out of my battery graveyard here. This one is, well, there isn't a whole lot there. I got a solid 2.5 volts, and when I load that up, there's nothing. Won't even pull an amperage. And then this one right here is mostly dead. This one was weak, still starting the vehicle, but I changed it out just so I wouldn't run into that issue that we're talking about today of, you know, risking it when it got really cold. So you can see that one actually has 12 volts. So it's not the most terrible-ish. It's a little bit low on the charge, but when we crank that sucker up, it falls just below that 9.6. So not terrible, but on a really cold day, this one's just not quite got enough oomph left in it. Got a few years under its belt too. So that was built in September of 18, so that's what, almost 8 years old at this point. And it's a little bit bulged, like it's past its prime. However, let's take a look at testing it with our handheld. These things are quite handy. So with that little BT light on there, that means Bluetooth. That means that it is connected to my phone, and this test button won't work unless I were to disconnect it. Let's take a look at this one and see what our tester here says. It doesn't say a gosh darn thing because there's not enough voltage here to turn this on. I believe this needs to see somewhere around that 6 to 8 volts. I'm not 100% on that, but it needs to see some voltage before it'll turn on. So kind of some nice safety features on this thing is if you were to say load test a frozen battery using this old school tester, if you were to say load test a frozen battery in the middle of the winter using this, you could cause that to explode and you could have some damage done there. Whereas these little testers are a little bit safer in those types of situations. Hello over there. Anytime a battery gets this discharged, you have to understand why and the usage of the vehicle. So if this is a vehicle that sits a lot and maybe it sits for a few weeks, a few months at a time, low battery is not necessarily a sign that the battery is dying. They will self-discharge over time. However, if this is a daily drive and you're driving this thing every day or every couple of days and a battery goes low, there's no sense in doing a charge and retest. Like, it's done. Your alternator should be keeping this battery level charged up and maintained. We're going to get a new battery in this, and then I'm going to show you how to test your alternator and your starter as well. Alrighty, so we've got the new battery. We've got the new battery in. Why is my face dark? Lighten up. There we go. New battery's in, and it has already been tested, but I'm just going to show you how to do this right quick, the difference between them. Power to power, ground to ground. And now we're going to look at, see how my voltage is quite a bit higher. We're at 12.4. So this one could use a little bit of a charge up, and my amperage is on this side. So when I load this up, a little bit of the magic smoke out there. Why did it do that? I always love when it does that. Okay, let's try this again. Better connection, and our battery is passing the test. Let a little magic smoke out of the other side this time. That was my clamps, not the battery. So you can see right there, and there, where I had a poor connection on those battery terminals, and that's what caused all the smoke from these clamps. Let's check out this little one now. So I'm at 12.4 volts. That's about a 75% charge. It is showing full. Let's hit test. And it doesn't want to do that because you can see right here, that one's connected to my phone, so I got to do this through my phone. Battery test. I've got all of my info punched in. And here we go. Good battery condition. Please charge. It's brand new. It's been at the store for a while, so I get that. 90%, greater than 90% state of health, 80% state of charge. So you need to be at least a minimum of a 75% state of charge on your battery before you can proceed to test the rest of the system. So let's test the alternator and the starter, and let's make sure this entire system is in good shape. Okay, cool. So now I'm sitting inside the car. In case you didn't know, the battery tester is still connected to the battery, and that's where this little app is really freaking cool. So I can do a charging system test, and I just follow the instructions on it. Turn off my electronics, hit continue. Current voltage is 12.4. Confirm whether the vehicle starts successfully. Well, let's fire it up. And the steering wheel moved, and so did my camera. That was not intended. Just balance that there. Okay, so you heard the vehicle start a lot better that time, which I like. You see the camera moving a little bit. It's just balanced. Turn off the electronics. Great. Next. Increase engine speed to 2,500 RPM. I don't have a tack, but sure, that sounds like 2,500. Next, turn on the electronics, like the headlights. Normal charging voltage, 14.57, and low ripple. The ripple is really important. That is inside the alternator. It is creating alternating current and has to rectify that into DC current. And the ripple should be less than 10% of the total system voltage, because that's basically measuring how much AC voltage is actually getting past those diodes. So we're in good shape. Charging system, good. And we have a low battery. So keep in mind, it's within its 75% charge, but if that was any lower than that, we might get some charging system faults, because the battery's kind of like, it feeds the computer, which is the brain, the information that it needs to control everything. And if it's not getting its proper intake, it's not going to necessarily output properly. So let's try one more test. Let's do our cranking system test to make sure that our starter's okay. And there goes the steering wheel again. Nope, didn't move the camera that time. Okay, cranking test, turn off the electronics. Great, done. Next, turn off all systems, confirm, start the vehicle. Cranking voltage and the cranking time all pass. So that little $30 tester right there walks you through every single step on how to test your battery, your starter, your alternator, and that could save you downtime and a whole lot of money, because it's going to be a lot more expensive if you have to get your vehicle towed and miss a day at work than doing this test before things get too cold outside, and it's a little bit more convenient to be able to schedule your maintenance than have the maintenance schedule itself for you. So hope that helped. Hope you learned something from that. Check out one of these other awesome videos and let me know what you think. See you in the comments.